Hello everyone, welcome to my channel. This is my second video in a new series I've started this year of 10-minute watercolor paintings. One of the biggest barriers that can prevent somebody from creating art is feeling like you don't have the time or the energy to do so. I know I certainly suffer from those feelings, especially after a long work day. It just feels almost impossible to sit down and start creating art. So this series is to help inspire and motivate you when you have something that you can create in just a short amount of time. Hopefully that will get your creative juices flowing, and it can continue to motivate you to come back daily, weekly, monthly, whatever you're able to fit in, and just start building your art practice. And then you can work up to maybe those longer paintings. But in the meantime, if this is something for you, or if you're just wanting to kind of have fun and not have to spend a lot of time on something, 10, 15, 20 minutes is all it will take, and then you'll have a finished product that hopefully you are happy with. So without further ado, we're going to dive in and just have fun today. This week's video compared to last week's is a little different in that I did not do several different paintings until I got to one that I liked. I wanted it to be a little more realistic towards maybe what your experience might be, where this was the first painting I did, and even though it ultimately didn't end up as a painting that I would go, yeah, this is something is as high quality as other things I've done where I spend a lot more time on, obviously not, because this is just 10 minutes. So I wanted to do it this way as a reminder for myself and for you that 10 minutes is quick, so you're not going to end up most likely with some masterpiece that you are thinking, this is the best painting I've ever done. So it's okay to just have a painting that feels like, okay, I got an entire thing done, and even though it's not super high quality, it's still something that you can feel you achieved. You finished a painting in only 10 minutes, so that is great. And so that is why I went ahead, and even though I contemplated, okay, maybe I'll try this again and see if I can make it look even better, it's just 10 minutes. Be forgiving to yourself, and also just maybe set a goal of, hey, I'll keep painting the same object each day, 10 minutes each day. I'll learn something new each time and get better and better. So that is why this time I went ahead and just stuck with the painting that I ultimately did. I'm gonna go into a few details about what paint I'm using. This is burnt umber. It's a really nice, good brown, all around nice brown that you can use, fairly warm color. It is definitely not as warm as a burnt sienna, which almost has a lot of orange tones to it, but this one's really nice, kind of middle of the road brown, which makes sense for tree trunk and branches to start off that way. So I started out with my little round tip size 4 brush, and now I have moved on to a flat brush. Not a very large one. I can't recall what exact size this one is, but it will give you a little more surface area to be able to create your leafy greenery on the tree. So I'm going in with some yellow ochre, sap green, and a forest green, and kind of mixing and blending those together. And then you really just go in. You want to have a decent amount of paint on the brush and not as much water. If you have too much water, all the colors are going to start flowing into each other and not give you as much texture as you might like. So you're just going to kind of dab your brush into the paint, and I'm literally just dabbing on the page and filling in. Again, you can see I'm getting a decent amount of texture there. If I were to take longer for this painting and not have to worry about drying time, I would definitely add more layers, let the original fields of color that I lay down completely dry, then go back in with heavier paint, dabbing on top so that you have less water in there. and really just dab to build up the texture. But for this one, it worked to just try and use that paintbrush. You have your bristles. Your bristles already give you a really nice type of texture, so you can take advantage of that, whether it's for like hair or fur on an animal or person, or this leafy greenery. The way I'm painting this tree, the shadowing is going to be on the right side. So I'm going in with some Payne's Gray, which is one of my all-time favorite colors. I like it even better than black for getting really deep shadows. It just, I feel like, adds a little more richness than black. It adds, I feel, more dimensionality. So I'm going in there to really add some shadows to that tree trunk, also within those leaves and greenery on the trees. Going back to that burnt umber, adding, definitely trying to stay in line with the directionality of your light. If the sun is shining from the upper left of the page, then your shadow is going to extend diagonally towards the right side of the page, and the shadows will mostly be on the right. And of course, you have creative liberty. I don't go too much into the ground. I wanted it to go a little more abstract. That's kind of fun to take advantage of. Oops, I almost lost my brush there. I accidentally dropped it. So luckily I didn't fling paint all over, but these things happen sometimes when you're in a little bit of a rush. So watercolor can really be wonderful if you are very detailed and careful with it to have realism, which I'm trying to go for. A certain amount of realism on the tree. Obviously, you can't get to the level of detail you would in only 10 minutes, but it's definitely recognizable as a tree form. And then that lower part, which I'll add to later, watercolor is also really great for abstraction, where you have just loose flowing colors that blend into each other, and you can make them drip, and you can have splatters. It's a lot of fun to work with. I'm back. I forgot to mention when I transitioned back to that round tip brush, it's great for fine lines because you can use the very tip that comes to a nice fine point, and you can use that to fill in thin lines, which of course I'm doing to get some of those branches in there. Will really take your art, any art you do, whether it's watercolor, paintings, or graphite drawings, pastels, whatever medium you're using, when you can push contrast and value, that's really going to make your artwork pop. So you want to really go pretty intense with your shadows when you can go to those really, really dark darks and then have a spectrum of your middle tones all the way to your lightest lights. And of course I added some yellow to kind of get some of those lighter tones in there. But when you can really have a full spectrum of value and contrast, that's really gonna help your artwork in the long run. So I took a clean wet brush and then took my towel and just blotted it up. So that kind of helps if you have accidental drops or drips of watercolor while it's still wet. You can go and basically lift it off the page with a clean brush and a towel. There's some of that lovely fun abstract stuff I was talking about. I lifted my pad and sort of tamped it down on the table surface to get that fun drip effect. That lovely kind of yellowish color on the left that drips down is I believe I used raw sienna for that, which is a gorgeous color. It definitely has a lot of yellow tones to it. It's like a brownish yellow. And And then just having fun with, the roots, just these ideas of the vitality, the roots of the tree going down into the ground. I did go back, add just a few more details. I knew I was quickly running out of time, but I want to add a little bit more texture. And then push the sort of shadowing of the main trunk and some of the branches of the tree as well. And that's where I ended. And then I realized that I had forgotten to add a signature. So I quickly went back and realized I had 20 seconds left before it would have reached 10 minutes. So I went back and added a signature. I don't know if you like to add signatures to your painting. I go back and forth and thinking, does it need a signature? But I have for a while been more on the side now. Why not? Go ahead and sign your work. So I did do that. So it would have my signature on it. And there's the final piece, 10-minute painting. If you painted along with me, I hope you had fun and enjoyed it. Thank you so much for watching. Please like and subscribe. I really appreciate all your support, and I look forward to having you join me in the next video.